April 2026 in Ukraine. Drone operators release footage of a new weapon being used against Russia. The footage shows a Russian truck being destroyed in a matter of seconds. In other footage, you can see a piece of artillery on the move being destroyed and a tank being turned into a fireball. But the drone you're seeing in this footage isn't an ordinary drone. It keeps attacking even if communication with the operator is cut off. It can recognize targets on its own and is updated over the air with new tactics just like your cell phone. It costs 62,000 euros, the price of an economy car, and it's destroying Russian military equipment that costs millions. But the strangest detail isn't any of those. This drone was invented in a country that, just a few years ago, had a bankrupt army, where soldiers trained with broomsticks instead of rifles. Today, that same country is exporting to Ukraine the kind of weapon the world only knew from movies. This drone is called HX2. It weighs only 12 kilos, it can be carried by a single soldier, it flies at 220 kilometers per hour, faster than many cars can go. It has X-shaped wings that allow for aggressive maneuvers in just a few seconds. It can fly in a swarm with a single operator controlling multiple drones at the same time, each one going after a different target. And it was designed to do one thing: explode along with the target. The German company that makes it is called Helsing. The first thing that stands out about the way Ukraine is using the HX2 is where it's being used. It's not at the front or on the front line, but rather dozens of kilometers behind it, in areas that, throughout the entire war, the Russians considered safe. The first reports of attacks appeared in March of 2026 on Russian military channels on Telegram, in messages that mixed confusion and panic. Tank repair crews being hit in what was supposed to be the rear. Supply trucks disappearing on roads that had never been targeted before. Mobile artillery exploding while on the move, in territories that had been considered untouchable for years. What had hit was the HX2, and what it was doing was unprecedented. Targeting logistics, not troops. Cutting off the supply, not breaking through the front line. In any previous war, this kind of mission required expensive missiles, like the American HIMARS, or planes with sophisticated weaponry. In Ukraine, it's being done with drones that can fit in the arms of a single soldier, and they cost about as much as an economy car. Until the arrival of HX2, Ukraine basically had three options: to hit targets behind enemy lines, deep inside territory controlled by the Russians. The first were the HIMARS missiles supplied by the United States. It's a rocket system launched from trucks. Each missile costs around $150,000, and the ammunition depends on the United States sending more. In 2025, the shipments decreased drastically. Ukrainian soldiers at the front started reporting that they could barely hear the sound of HIMARS being fired anymore. The second option was the Storm Shadow cruise missiles, supplied by the United Kingdom and France. They are long-range missiles, launched from fighter jets. Each one costs almost $2 million, and to be fired, they need a modern fighter jet in the air, and Ukraine has few fighter jets of that type. The third option was the Ukrainian first-person view drones, mass-produced in the country itself. They are small drones piloted by a person looking at a screen in real time, just like in a video game. These are cheap but have a short range, usually less than 20 kilometers. And this continuous communication between the drone and the operator is vulnerable to Russian electronic warfare. The HX2 is none of those. And at the same time, it combines the best of all three. It has cruise missile range, 100 kilometers. It's mass-produced like those small first-person view drones. And it costs 62,000 euros. And it even has artificial intelligence. For the first time, Ukraine has in its hands a weapon that combines range, autonomy, and mass production. The Russians don't have an equivalent. Their drone, the Lancet, looks a lot like the HX2 on the outside. Same weight, same silhouette. But it flies only half the distance. It relies much more on a human operator, and it's produced in volumes that don't even come close to what Helsing is producing in Germany. And the most important detail: to destroy a Russian tank that costs $4 million, Ukraine now only needs to spend $62,000. The math of war has been reversed, and now it favors Ukraine. The company behind HX2 is not even 5 years old. It was founded in 2021 in Munich. Today it's worth 12 billion euros. It's the most valuable defense startup in Europe. But the most surprising detail is who's footing the bill. The chairman of Helsing's board is Daniel Ek, founder of Spotify, the largest music platform in the world. Every play, on any song, anywhere on the planet. It feeds Ek's personal fortune, and Ek redirected that fortune to manufacturing drones. With artificial intelligence, when musicians found out in 2025, the boycotts started. Bands like Massive Attack removed their entire discography from the platform. Other bands followed. Shortly after, Daniel Ek stopped running Spotify. But he stayed with the company, in a more discreet position. He also remained president of Helsing, the company that makes the drones. But Helsing hasn't always been successful. In January 2026, the company went through its worst moment. On January 19th, Bloomberg published a damning report, citing German military documents and anonymous sources in the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense. The report said that the HX2 was failing in field tests. Several drones wouldn't even take off. Others arrived in Ukraine without the artificial intelligence components that had been promised. And those that managed to fly lost contact with the operators when the Russians jammed the signal. The reaction was immediate. Ukraine paused new orders. The drone that was supposed to be Europe's most advanced weapon against Russia. It seemed to have failed before it even started. Helsing denied the accusations, but no one seemed to listen. And then, in 60 days, something unprecedented happened in the history of defense companies. The engineers in Munich took the failure reports coming from the Ukrainian front. They updated the drone's software. They added external antennas that are more resistant to signal jamming. And they sent everything to the drones that were already in the field, over the air, in a single update. In mid-March, 60 days after the Bloomberg report, the first reports of attacks appeared on Russian channels. The photos of the wreckage that were circulating showed that the drone had changed. Larger external antennas, new components. The HX2 was back. And it worked. And this is where modern warfare changed forever. Why? That speed of adaptation. It's something that the Russian military industry simply can't do. Identify a problem on the battlefield, fix that problem, and send the fix over the air to thousands of drones in 60 days. That, in Russia, would take years. Russian weapons are manufactured on slow production lines. They depend on Western electronic components that have to be smuggled in, and it takes years for them to be modified. The Lancet drone, which Ukraine shoots down today, has evolved slowly and incrementally since 2022. The HX2 changes in months. Russia is losing a war that it hasn't realized it's losing yet. Not on the front lines, in software. And HX2 is just getting started. When Helsing started manufacturing the drone in 2025, they produced 450 units per month. Today, it's 1,000. And by the end of 2026, the company promises to produce 2,500 units per month, 84 drones per day, in a single factory in southern Germany. Others are being built. Ukraine already has 6,000 units on order, and Helsing's long-term goal is to produce 200,000 of these drones. A number that, according to the creators, would be enough to single-handedly stop a Russian invasion of all of Europe. When Putin invaded Ukraine in 2022, he believed that Europe had no response, that the West was weak, that the Germans were too pacifist to react. In part, he was right. But Putin didn't realize one thing. By invading Ukraine, he didn't just wake up the European defense industry. He sped up the development of an entirely new type of weapon by decades. Autonomous drones with artificial intelligence, mass-produced, updated over the air. Things that, in any other historical scenario, would have taken 20 years to reach the battlefield. Today, they're arriving in months. And the result is that, in May of 2026, Russia is facing exactly the kind of weapon it can't produce, can't intercept, and can't avoid. Europe is no longer defending itself from Putin with old tanks and American ammunition that may or may not arrive. It's defending itself with something it created on its own, something it will improve month by month. And unlike any Russian weapon, it will be available for the next war. And for the one after that too. In 2022, German soldiers were training with broomsticks. In 2026, Russian soldiers are killed by a German drone that decides on its own where to attack. The truth is that Germany didn't just wake up to this war. It woke up to all the wars to come. And you, what do you think about that? Do you think it's right for machines with artificial intelligence to decide on their own where to attack? Or is that a line that should never have been crossed? Leave your opinion in the comments. If this video helped you understand what's happening in the current war, subscribe to the channel and share it with anyone you think might be interested. Thanks for watching. See you next time.